All the latest in the boycott situation in your Marvel Strike Force weekly news update. Yes, Khasino and I are discussing all of the latest developments, plus more new character rumors. Yes, all of that coming up. And if you're ready for that, guys, you know what to do.
Let's go flash it.
ValleyFlyin.
What is up, Valley Maniacs? ValleyFlyin here. I am back. Welcome to the channel for your Marvel Strike Force weekly news update. As usual, I am joined by my partner in crime, my brother Khasino. How are you doing, my friend? How are you? How has life been for you?
It's been pretty good. What's going on, man?
Woo, man, so much stuff going on. People are angry. People are angry, the community in Marvel Strike Force, but a lot going on.
I know, and it's got me pissed off. No.
Yes. Let's see how much salt you can shake this week. I know there was a big salt shaker out for you last week, but a lot of good stuff that we're talking about, especially this boycott. I don't know. Do you got more rumors about these new characters upcoming for us?
Always.
I love it. So got that. I know you have unlocked Cyclops. I know a lot of people aren't spending on this game, but maybe you could tell us about it and see if perhaps this strike is over. People want to buy this, then maybe they can either look forward or not look forward to that. But let's get into this, guys. Now, obviously, this will go long. There are timestamps in the description. And if you are listening to the podcast version, welcome. And I hope you guys subscribe. All right. First thing, I did want to ask you about the Super Bowl. Did you watch that?
I watched the very end of it when someone was like, "Oh yeah, they're in the fourth quarter." I'm here in the Bay Area, so I was like, "All right, let me support the local team." So I turned into the fourth quarter, and by the end, I was like, "Super Bowl sucked."
Oh, is that what happened? They were winning, and you turned in, and they
that could
went
be
the
it.
other way. All right.
Could be it. They're like, Casino's watching.
Well, you obviously missed the halftime show. That was my favorite part of the whole Super Bowl.
I had
Shakira,
several people message me.
It was
I had several people be like, "Did you catch the halftime show?" I'm like,
very
"No, what I missed?" They're like, "Oh, it was bootylicious." Like, oh, okay.
Did you see that part? No.
Yeah,
right.
I did.
I will play that in the background while I'm doing that. But all right, I guess the more important question: have you spent your Red Star promotion credits, the gold ones, yet?
No, I've been trying. I've actually been paying to refresh the Elite shop, which if you're listening to this, that's not a good idea. That's a waste of course. But.
Yeah, especially when yours, I know we talked about this the previous week, all the ones that would be 7 are blank in there. So you're probably rolling a lot of blanks with all those cores that you're spending.
I am, but so I'm actually mad because there were, last week I had 2 characters that I'm like, as soon as I see one of these 2 characters, I'm doing it. Yes. And those 2 characters are Phoenix and Captain Marvel, because I have them both at 5 red. Mm-hmm. Then we were doing a bunch of tier list stuff, and I was talking to one of the people that I do the tier list with. Shout out to one of my captains, Vrondius. Yeah. And he pointed out, he's like, Captain Marvel's amazing, especially at 6 red star, but these days, like, she's not on the optimal arena team now that we have Black Bolt and Hela. She's not on the optimal Ultimate 7 team now that we have Black Bolt and Hela. He's like, I think her time in the prime of the spotlight might be behind her. And I was like, damn it, you're right. Like, I want a 6 red star Captain Marvel so bad, but I'm probably going to sit on my second group of 5, and I'm definitely going to upgrade Phoenix when I see her. But so I've been refreshing the store, and I've seen Captain Marvel twice. Oh, I know, both times I'm like, it's tough, man.
I might still do Captain Marvel. All what you said is true, but I'm kind of looking forward to getting a cool Captain Marvel for my war defense and some other game modes and some of the raids. She's a very good character, so I might end up doing that Captain Marvel anyway. And I saw her when I had the 4 gold, and I haven't seen her since. So not very many refreshes, but I am not paying to refresh the store for that.
I hear you. Again, no one should. But so. The thing for me is I know I won't be that upset if I hang on to them. Like, I'll get the Phoenix, and then if I have 5 just sitting around, inevitably a character will come, and I'll be like, this is the one.
Well, the only one for me that I could possibly upgrade right now would be Captain Marvel. Everybody else is not at that 5-star that is at that level to upgrade, so it's not even a choice for me right now. So she might be in the twilight of her MSF Kind of mad at days, but I still probably.
I mean, she's always going to be a powerhouse. You can always use her for stuff, and yeah, war defense still a nightmare.
Yeah. Oh, I hate running into those. But I guess the big news of the week. Let's get to it, because pretty much right after we recorded the news, right as I was editing it, this big strike of the whales, or they were organizing the strike. They had a letter on Reddit that went out and trying to organize the community, a list of grievances that they had about the game. Initial reaction when you first saw this?
Wait, there's a strike going on?
I heard there was a strike. Have you heard differently, my friend?
No, I'm just kidding. Because it's everywhere. Like, people, they got the word out. It was easily the most upvoted Reddit thread of all
by
time.
far. I think it was like 1,000 or close to that.
3,000.
This was
3,000.
This was 3,000. I think the one previous record holder was 1,000 though. So yeah, shattered, dude.
Interestingly, also serves as proof that the active player base has been growing.
Yes.
But yes.
All right. So initial reaction. What did you think when you first saw this?
I was kind of torn because the problem with strikes like this, they're like, so I could talk about this at length for a while, but so a lot of the
shortened version.
I'm trying. A lot of the things that they're asking for, I also want. So I was happy to see that people were, for the most part, up in arms about the right things to be up in arms about. But so before that letter even happened, I talked to some of the people who were organizing it, and they were like, yeah, we're probably going to start a strike. And they were like, we're just fed up with this, and this. And they listed some stuff. And I immediately had said, like, you guys are ignoring some of the signs here. Like, one of the main things they were upset about was there hasn't been new content. And Foxnext may be scheming at how to empty our pocketbooks. But one thing that they're not doing is sitting around staring at the ceiling tiles. They're always working on something, usually multiple things. So the fact that we haven't had new content, to me, is like a red alert, like, oh, we're gonna get a bunch of content soon. So I had told them, and obviously I'd heard rumors about new content stuff. So I cautioned them before they even initiated this. Like, maybe wait until you get an announcement or two from them, because if you're about to complain that there's been no new content, they're just gonna turn around and be like, oh, did we not have a chance to tell you about all this new content? And then you're just look kind of silly standing there after you just finished tearing into them about not making new content when it's all they've been working on. So there was that and a few other things, but I basically had cautioned them against it. So the very first thought I had when I saw it go up was like, oh, this is not the time to do this. They're going to immediately take all the wind out of these sails.
I gotta admit, the timing was a little weird. They just issued this Red Star compensation. They just had this video come out either the week before or 2 weeks before, teasing a bunch of stuff. So I did think the timing is weird. Now, if it happened before that video, before the compensation, I was like, yeah, do it. Yeah. But I am with you. I agree with a lot of what they're saying. I do want the stuff, but the timing was strange, I thought.
Yep, and it's kind of evolved and gotten crazy. So strikes like this, they're either good for the community or bad. If everyone gets on board and it's well organized and it has unanimous support, which they, in my opinion, they didn't make sure they had unanimous support before doing this. If everyone's on board, you can absolutely affect real change with a strike like this.
Yeah.
But if your best attempt at a strike like only has moderate support and then it kind of fumbles, like then people just blow it off the next time, and you know what I mean, like you've lost your bargaining chip, so to speak. Like you just,
yeah.
You know,
this
it
is
sets
a big
the
thing.
tone.
This is a very strongly worded letter, the initial letter that we're talking about here, and it's very strong. Like it's not when we're gonna break, it's when you're gonna break, things like that, and so it's very strong, and you do need that level of coordination. What are you hearing on people spending? Is the spending level way down, pretty moderately down? Is it not down at all? What are you hearing as far as that?
There's definitely been some impact, but it's been kind of messy. So to give people a timeline of events, the people who initiated the spending strike put out a letter. Yes. And the original letter confused people because it said, this letter serves as a warning, we will go on spending strike pending your response to this letter.
Yeah, it
some
officially
people
hadn't been called for in the initial letter.
Right, but so some people took the letter to mean like, all right, guess we're on strike, time to stop spending. And but not everyone, even like a bunch of the people who were part of authoring the letter were like, oh no, we're still spending, but we're going to stop if. Then pretty much the next day, Fox Next released a dev blog a few days early because it addressed and alleviated a bunch of the concerns mentioned in the letter.
Yeah, so we got the initial letter on Reddit. They responded, said they were going to respond in the following week's blog post, and that Friday, which was a couple days later, we got this big blog post with a lot of stuff in there. But
yeah, I think they even released it like a day early, like on a Thursday or something. But anyway, I could be mistaken, but Fox Next released their blog, and so some people right there were like, oh, okay, so like at least a good chunk of the stuff we were upset about, they are all over it. They have already been working on it. So some people were like, all right, it's fine. Whereas other people were like, no, I'm not happy with this. We want a lot more. Then they issued a response to the blog post, and that got real crazy because their response, like, the original letter was asking for like 3 key things, and the response was like, we're still unhappy, but then pointed to like 8 different things they wanted changed.
Yeah.
So it kind of like, rather than like, we're striking for this, this, and this, now it's like, we're striking because we're mad, and fix this and fix that and fix this. And I understand where they're coming from, but I know for a fact that some people were like, yeah, I was with it until their response to the blog post. They pretty much ignored all the good news. And
well, let's go back a little bit, because let's go to the initial letter. And I don't know if this is super clear, but because this wasn't super clear to me until I was chatting with some of these guys on Discord. And what I gathered from that chat is the main concern was the player attrition, people leaving the game. And the main thing that they said people were leaving the game for was these red stars, the gambling nature of the red stars, and this excessive low quality time in the game. And the blog post did not mention the red stars at all. And it mentioned the actually, you know what? It did. It mentioned that there's some improvements coming, very vague, and then the reduced quality of time. They mentioned some changes in Blitz, but it was kind of vague as well. So I get why the response was what it was, because the two main issues that they had weren't really addressed.
Let's back up, because they were and they weren't. So this is a lot to get into. But
yeah, there was a lot of content that
we
I tried to break down into this little segment here. So. But,
but so to start from the top with the red star, so the dev blog, like, we'll try to do this in order, but the dev blog mentioned they're going to give us more red star orbs. Now, me personally, I think it's a laughable amount, that like an extra 2 a week.
Agreed. I think most of the community's with you on that one.
But they also said they're going to give one one promotion credit, one silver promotion credit every day from the dailies. And some people are like, great, a single 5-star. Yeah, that's what everyone said. That's what everyone said. But it's also every 50 days guaranteed for, and you still get them from other sources. So it's not like that's all you get. Like, you can, like, now it might make sense to trade in some of the elite frags that you have for the promotion tokens, because you're going to get some. So, with what you can already generate, this will allow you to get extra, but whatever. So it's fine. If their response to that was like, oh, we find this solution unsatisfactory, that's fine. But Fox Next wasn't like, we don't care. Fox Next was like, here are the plans we already had to make red stars more available and put more choice in the player's hands. So that's one thing. Do
you think it was a plan they already had, or do you think this was kind of a response?
No, it was. Okay. No, it was a plan. Everything in that dev blog was a plan they already had, except maybe like one thing.
Was all this stuff the stuff that you heard before?
Yes.
Okay.
Which is why I tried to caution them against starting the strike when they did. Like, I would have been like completely behind the strike if they waited for Fox Next to announce all this and were like, we don't like your roadmap, we're striking unless we get a different one. But, like, again, one of the big things they harped on about was no new content. And they completely ignored that the whole dev blog was like, you're getting new hero campaign, new villain campaign, new Nexus campaign, 2 new tiers of challenges, the new Dark Dimension, ISO 8, which is going to have campaigns. You're getting the new live PvP mode. They're really like, we have so much content we've been working on for you guys. So that that was one of the big things. The low quality time. So the low quality time is being conflated with another point, and I'm very much, like I said, in support of a lot of things that they're asking for in this letter. There's one they're asking for that's getting conflated with low quality time. That's really undermining their position, in my opinion. And it's that they highlight in their response to Fox Next. Mm-hmm. They have a line where they basically say, people are being forced to play 2 to 3 hours a day to be competitive. This is simply unacceptable. It's causing burnout. We've had it. And that is such a stupid point, because in almost every other game like this, to be competitive, you gotta grind for like Marvel Contest Champions, you gotta grind for like 9 hours a day doing arena on the weekends. Like almost every other game, you have to be a lot more competitive. And at the end of the day, that's what being competitive is. It's not, I get to be rank 1 on my lunch break. Like, I can play an hour and a half a day, and I want to be able to be the top alliance with an hour and a half a day. Like, no, people who are willing to outwork you want to pass you up. Like, that's being competitive. So they are complaining about low quality time, but they're also complaining about total time spent. They're basically saying, to be rank 1 is taking me like 3 hours. It's so tiring, and that point is idiotic.
I would agree with you on that one, but there is a lot of low quality time.
Well,
in that,
so
if it was. Well, this was something I was asked to ask you specifically when on a stream that I was watching. Would you want less screen time and more fun?
Who would say no to that? But I want more screen time and more fun. I think that, assuming the screen time is the fun.
They're trying to get across with their letter and their response. I think they might not have worded it all properly, but I think that's the general point that they're trying to get across, is just adding more fun to the game. And, and reducing the the low quality time, as Fox calls it.
Yes, but part of their complaint is, as is obvious from their response, is it sucks how much time it takes. They're saying like having to play this much every day to be competitive.
I agree with you on that one. Let's move on. That's a weird thing to say. Let's move on from that one. That was a weird.
Right. Well, I just wanted to highlight like the saying like Fox Next didn't address the low quality time. Like if Fox Next could, they want you to play 10 hours a day, having a blast and considering buying things the entire time. That's what they want.
Yeah. Well, that was a Reddit post. There was a little controversy about the stealth buffs, because this was something that was mentioned in the original letter. Fox addressed it, says we're not doing anything, and I guess there was a Reddit post later that said, hey, they are, but there's people refuting that as well. What is your take on these stealth buffs going on?
So I have seen them stealth buff stuff before, and it is absolutely something that they are willing to do, and I have zero tolerance for that. Like if we ever catch them stealth buffing anything, I give them an earful about it. If I have to make a video, I do, but stealth buffs are not okay. However, this is Fox Next, and I always harken back to never attribute to malice that which can be adequately explained by stupidity. And
jeez.
Have you not heard that? So
I know what the reference is to. You're calling them idiotic.
In their own blog posts, in response, they were like, "We don't stealth buff stuff, but if you find something, yes, yeah, and I don't believe that. I do believe that they stealth buff stuff, but I also believe that they break stuff. So recently, like I feel like the last couple of times they tried to stealth buff stuff, which was a while ago, they got caught and they had to revert it. And then they tried to play it off like, oh, that wasn't supposed to happen. We forgot. We pulled data from a previous version of that raid, see what had happened was. So they'd gotten caught. So I think they'd given up on intentionally stealth buffing things that I've seen. But anyway, it's right to be like, hey, stop trying to stealth buff. But I haven't seen a stealth buff in a while, and I'm absolutely willing to entertain the idea that they're just dumb. So
yeah, this is one that I have no experience on personally. I haven't noticed things being buffed or stuff. So I maybe it has. Maybe I'm just not noticing the stuff, but I haven't noticed it personally.
So talking about the original letter, we got 2 more things to address. We talked about Red Stars a bit. I'm pretty much exclusively in support of what they are asking for from Red Stars, and we'll talk about Fox Next's response, but I do find that response inadequate. A step in the right direction, but inadequate. The low quality time, I think, obviously, I want to be having more fun. Mobile Gamer said it best. He's like saying, that's like saying murder is bad. Like, it doesn't need to be said. Like, I want to be having a total blast every time I have the phone in my hand. Yeah, okay, me too. Sure, fine. So two things. One you have here, character release cadence.
Yeah, that was one complaint. They wanted a more one-for-one release. Release one character and make one character farmable.
I cannot be more clear on this. I support that 1,000%. I don't even know why we have to ask them for that. I can't fathom why they don't just do that.
Why Foxnex? Why do we have to try to organize this strike for something like this? So simple. So
let me back. I know why they do it, because if you don't know when the character's coming back around, you'll buy more offers.
Yeah,
but
not me. I buy less offers because of that.
Right, I say shove it up your ass. You guys make enough money off the new characters when they release.
Yeah.
As long as you're consistently pumping out new characters. Yeah.
Something like
on to the next one. Let the free-to-play players plan. Like, if they're free-to-play players, they're free-to-play players. Let them play. Let them plan around. Yeah. So I completely agree. We should be getting characters made farmable at the same rate that new characters are introduced. 100%. If there's any part of the letter that I'm like, I want to stand up and scream it from the mountaintops, it's that. Now, you left off another thing in here, though, which was the other main point of the letter that I was like, oh, what are you guys talking about? And that's orange gear. Like, half the original letter is a huge fuss about the orange gear needed to take characters to gear tier 14, which is the most first whale problems I've ever heard in my life.
I did not think that was a major issue, which is why I left it off. But I guess to some people it is. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Orange gear. What is your reaction?
The people who authored this letter are the top alliance, literally the number 1 and the number 2 alliances in the game, and they're both big clusters. So the people most upset are the big whales, and like all these things that are frustrating them. It makes perfect sense, right? Why are they frustrated that they have to play so much and it's so much low quality time to stay competitive? Because they are rank 1, which means they have to play more than everyone to retain rank 1. And it's low quality time because it's just maintenance. It's just making sure you continue to stay on top. Yeah. So it doesn't feel rewarding because you're used to getting those rewards. Like, they're not suddenly breaking into, like, they already 100% the raids. So when they do raids, it's not like, maybe today we can hit 60%.
Yeah.
It's just like, we have to clear this, and if we don't, someone screwed up. So a lot of their complaints are like pretty whale-centric complaints. Again, things like make red stars more available, more fair, less RNG, all that definitely changes that benefit everyone. Saying things like more orange gear, we want more orange gear. This was another thing where Mobile Gamer was like, that's like saying murder is bad. Of course we want more orange gear. It's the rarest gear in the game on purpose. I think it is a ridiculous thing to ask for several reasons. One, gear tier 14 is not required for anything. You can use it in war, but like, I'm in a top 50 alliance in the game. We saw literally our entire enemy alliance helicarrier last match had 2 characters at gear tier 14. One was a Captain America, and the other was an M'Baku. So it's not like we're like out here getting wrecked, not having characters at gear tier 14.
Weird characters.
I don't. Very, very strange. Very strange. But I don't want to talk about that. Raid, people were 100%ing Ultimus 7 before gear tier 14, so it's not needed for that. Sure, it makes it easier, and it might cut down on the spending. But again, like, my alliance with almost no one having anyone at gear tier 14, we're doing 60% Ultimus 7. That's not an issue. The main thing that you're actually designed to need gear tier 14 for is Dark Dimension 3, which isn't even out yet. Yeah. They're mad that they're not ready to get into the unreleased game mode, which I understand. It's just the Veruca from Willy Wonka. I want it now. I get it.
Daddy.
But yeah, right. Exactly that. But it's a late game chase. Like, Dark Dimension 3 it's supposed to take you months and months to get in, and they're mad that they're not ready to get in today and won't be next week. Like, it's mind-blowing. So that was the other thing in the letter.
You mentioned orange gear. You might as well mention gold as well.
So we want more gold is Mobile Gamer again said it best. Murder is bad. We're always gonna want more gold, and I know for a fact that it is the least popular thing I can say to say we don't need more gold.
You sure you want to
now,
say
I'm not
it?
saying
Are you sure you want to say it?
Well, pause, because
Okay.
I'm not saying
Okay.
I don't want more gold. I do want more gold. I don't feel we need more gold. I would love more gold. I hope they give us more gold tomorrow. But if they don't, I'm not dying. And some people answer that with like, well, you're just a filthy whale. You just buy all the gold you need. So we've run the numbers, and right now, the average late game player gets between 1.2 and 1.3 million gold per day on average. That is enough if you're just taking characters from 0 to 70. That is enough to, fully max 6 3/4 characters every month. That's enough to get 3 brand new characters in a month. A typical patch is like 6 weeks, and they're averaging like 4 characters a week. So let's say there's 3 new characters every month. That's enough for 3 new ones, and then 3 and almost a 4th old one. So, I know.
So let me recap, because I think some of those letters should have been boiled down to like 1 or 2 bullet points. I don't remember where I saw it, but it was somewhere on the Reddit thread. Someone does a negotiator that said, when you're asking for demands, just ask for 1 or 2 things, make them very clear.
Yes.
So things that I guess nobody could argue with. Red stars, they suck. Reducing low quality time. Stealth buffs, not sure. New content, they've addressed that, and the character release cadence. And
yeah, it's
character release cadence, red stars, low quality time.
Those would be the 3. If I were helming this boycott, this spending strike, those would be my 3. Fix broken red stars, get rid of boring repetitive stuff, find a way to make it more fun, and the character release cadence is terrible and should just be 1-to-1.
Yeah, I don't think anybody could disagree with any of those demands and wants
not even
from
me.
FoxX to kind of fix this. If those 3 are really focused on.
I agree, not even me. And so
Casino.
those things are indefensible. But so what do you want me to say? So I mean FoxNext is great, and I don't know what you're talking about. But so the problem is, right, FoxNext put out the dev blog, which like made some things better and addressed some of them. Like, I want to cover the response now so we can just talk about the positive stuff.
In negotiation is probably a little too long.
Well, so the problem was
not focused on 1 or 2 things.
Right. No, they immediately asked for like 8 things, which to me, this is like the beginning of the end of the spending strike. That, and so many people bought Cyclops. So many people didn't. Like, plenty of people are still sticking to their guns for sure.
Yeah.
But so many people bought Cyclops. Like, FoxNext is not like, oh, that's it, we're done. Because plenty of people by this point were like, I'm over it. I want Cyclops. He's cool. Which, for the record, Cyclops is awesome. But
we'll get to that.
The response basically doubled down, said we're still angry and we're gonna continue striking, but then was like, we want 8 of these things fixed and we're waiting for a show of good faith. And it's like, FoxX is not gonna be like, all right, well, we're gonna redesign the entire game tomorrow just for you. I don't know if there were any particular points you wanted to address in the response, but I think the response did more harm than good.
I just think that the response should have focused on, hey, you didn't address this, you didn't address this, you didn't address this. That's it. This is a very long response. A lot of complaints in the game, and I don't know if I necessarily disagree with any of them. I just think that the targeting for the negotiation should have been done a little more focused than this response was. So hopefully going forward, the boycott is organized of this if they get it focused when they're asking for specific things. And
one or 2 issues at a time is how you do this.
And then you can negotiate further after that, but really get things,
The response post was a venting of every frustration, and a lot of the frustrations are warranted, but also like a lot of them were just like small little like, and you know what else? This is annoying too. Yeah. And it's like, okay, but what are we doing?
I mean, it's not wrong, but just in the sense of negotiation, it should have been a little smaller.
Where it left off is there's a call to action. They're saying they are now officially on spending strike, and they're waiting.
I think the spending strike call to action actually happened right before we started recording tonight. I don't think there was an official call to action of boycotting going on. There was saying, we will boycott in the initial letter. The response to the blog
then it became
post,
don't buy Cyclops.
Yeah, but I don't think there was the official say, hey, we are boycotting, we're not spending right now, until
they did
earlier today.
They did, but the people who organized it were like, we're encouraging people not to buy Cyclops. They weren't saying everyone has to do it, but they're like, we are strongly encouraging everyone not to buy Cyclops. It's weird. That's the other thing is like, there's just been abundant miscommunication about what is and isn't happening and who's supposed to be striking and when.
So a little bit before I started recording, they get this call to action that this immediate spending strike going on right now, and I guess this was the big call to action, because it's kind of unclear before that. It was really unclear in the initial letter when the strike would be beginning. There was that thing that they talked about with don't buy Cyclops, and it's still a little blurry, but now it looks like it is a complete spending strike.
I think, yeah, that's how I'm interpreting it, but
that's what
I don't think it was
getting from this
authored by the same person either. Another thing I've noticed is like various people are like co-opting it. Like a couple content creators jumped in and were like, all right, so yeah, we're doing it, and like just started making like calls for like, so this is how the strike's gonna go. We're not gonna let up until this point, and I think the leadership's a little all over the place with it, so we'll see. I don't want to come across as just like, this strike was stupid and everyone involved is stupid or anything like that, because I really do want most of what they're asking for.
Yeah.
So I hope they're successful. I am just very, very skeptical of their tactics.
So there's one comment in here that I did want to point out, because it did strike me. This comment says this person works in crisis communications, and you can 100% say they are waiting for this to die down and blow over. They referring to Fox Next. Do you think that is what they're kind of doing? This delayed response from Fox Next to that. What is the response to their blog? I mean, it's like a back and forth going on between in a public setting right now. So
maybe so. Like here's like they do care about the players, right? Like they want us to be having fun. They want to give us things that make us happy. And the only time, like, some people think like they're just evil, they just like messing with people. They're greedy. There's no question about it. They like to make decisions that cost us money, but if they can find a way to have us having tons of fun and making them a lot of money, that is what they want. So they don't want to do things that make players upset. Right. They don't want people to be upset.
Yeah.
A good amount of the concessions that people are asking for are things that would cost them money. Some things, like the character release cadence, where I think they should just eat it. But their stance is pretty much always going to be, they don't want to touch something that's going to cost them money unless they have to. Like, they're not going to drive away their player base over, a spike in profits for one thing or another. But it's in their financial best interest to not say anything. And as a game company, anytime you make a comment on, anytime you make a comment like on Reddit, you run the risk of like news articles everywhere being like, new most downvoted comment in all of Reddit. So Fox Next either has to respond with like, we're giving you everything you asked for, or not really say much, because that dev blog was like, well, we're actually giving you a bunch of the things you're asking for. And the response was like, but not everything, we're still mad. It's the silliest reason, but I actually think it would have been better off to wait until after Cyclops was strike, just on the basis that Cyclops is awesome. But anyway, so I think if I were Fox Next and I only cared about my, bank vault, I probably wouldn't say anything at this point, because they're just kind of slowly bleeding support. And like I said, I mean, the biggest thing was they made such a big deal out of no new content, and Fox Next was immediately like, what are you talking about? We've been working on tons of new content. We know we haven't announced it.
From the people I've talked to, the red stars were the main thing that they wanted fixed, and that I don't know. I don't know if that solution was. It's not a good solution. Yeah.
It's not a good solution, but even that, they offered up something. And I totally understand. For everyone who saw that and were like, no, you can do better. I agree. But it's hard to you know what I mean, like it's they immediately were like, we're doing more for you. So it's not like they're not playing ball. So
yeah. All right. So what do you think is going to come of this? What changes do you think are going to happen to the game? What do you think is going to happen to this the fix MSF movement? Apparently the spending strike is on right now. So do you think all these Cyclops offers were just kind of that was just kind of testing the waters and now no offers, or what's going on?
I mean, I don't think from the get-go, even though they had all those upvotes on the post, I think that Reddit a lot of times makes the mistake of thinking that they're the majority, and they're not. Like, the large majority of people that play this game are not on Reddit. They don't even watch any YouTube videos. They're not even in the Facebook groups. Like, they just log in and like talk to people in global. So I think a large amount of players still have no idea that like a spending strike was even going on, or they just saw someone mention it in global and was like, oh, that's silly, and just kept playing. So I don't think it had enough support to begin with. And because like I've been talking to people on stream and seeing people who are like, yeah, I was with it at first, but you know what, it went in a direction that I wasn't trying to take it with, and I was happy with the dev blog, and I wanted Cyclops, and I got him, and he's great. So I mean, if nothing else, I think it taught the devs a valuable lesson in communication. Like, I hope they've learned to communicate more often, more frequently, and tell us stuff farther in advance, give us a roadmap. And it definitely served to highlight, like, you have people sufficiently frustrated, like, don't even attempt to do things that are going to frustrate more people. So I think it served as a warning to them, but I don't think they're really feeling like a vice script to yield much more than what they're already doing. So.
Well, I'm hoping that this has more of a positive response than just more communication. I'm hoping that we get some changes, maybe some more fixes to red stars, maybe a few other things. But I'm hoping this does have a positive response. But I know you wanted to talk about some positive news. So let's talk about this dev blog, because there was some vagueness in it, but there were some really good positives in this thing as well. So character release cadence, we talked about that a little. It's really not good enough. They could go further with this one.
Right.
Disagree with it?
Yes, some of these things are good news, like a step in the right direction, but meeting us halfway on something that really shouldn't even be something we're haggling over. Yeah. So for people wondering about the character release cadence, the demands were like, for every new character that comes out, make an old character farmable. That's the 1-to-1.
Reasonable.
Very. That should just happen. But so Foxnex sort of met in the middle, and we're like, we will.
I don't know.
They were so right now they're averaging 3 characters per month, 4 to 5 characters per patch, which is roughly 6 weeks. And so Foxnex was like, we're gonna make 2 characters farmable every month.
Minimum one on the of 5th. One. If we screw up, it's just one. It might be just one.
They did. So a lot of people have been pointing that line, and I think people are reading into it more. So here's the thing, right? If we look at like over 6 months, and like 3 of those months they only did 1, I'm gonna be giving them a lot of shit about it, because even though it falls within what they promised us, like, that's ridiculous. I think they put that in just as like a, hey, if there's 1 month in particular that we screw up, we don't want a whole new riot because we lied to the players. They were basically like admitting, like, there might be a month where we only do 1, and it might just, be because we forgot or something else, a bunch of other stuff is going on, and we don't want everyone up in arms. So I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt on this one, that was just like a, hey, we're human. It might happen once.
Yeah, I mean, you could go the other way as well. They said to make at least 2 previously unfarmable characters. So that could be 3, that could be 4. But between more than 1 and more than...
Right, if it keeps being 1, and if it keeps being 1, like, more than a couple times in a row, and they're like, yeah, we said it might be 1 sometimes. Like, all right, well then, I'll be on the side of, how about you shove it up your ass?
All right. I'll be on that side as well. 2 is, I think, meeting halfway. 1 is just a little So we'll see what happens. We'll see what they actually stick to.
2 is like the minimum decency.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even clearing up the backlog with 2, so that's kind of a meet in the middle with that one. But one is really unacceptable. New campaigns, gear availability. We talked slightly about this one. More orange gear coming, but I think the big thing in this blog post, in this bullet point at least, is the Heroes campaign. We're getting that this month in February. Villains coming in March. Nexus coming in April. What are your thoughts on new campaigns coming?
I mean, it's just fun. It's gonna be new content, new ways to farm gear, and this fits with what they do. For again, so much of the original letter was like orange gear, orange gear, orange gear. We want more and we want it now. But this is what they do. They make it super rare. They let it be really rare for a while, and then they slowly ease up on it. They've literally they do this textbook. Like it's with everything. It's with gold. It's with orange gear. It's with red stars. Every resource in the game. They introduce it rare, and then they slowly make it more and more common. And they do that on purpose because it's fun and exciting when you make stuff more. Like they learned the hard way. They literally learned this in beta. If you make things too available and you ever try to go back and make it less available, you piss off everyone like no other. That is textbook how to drive your game into the ground 101. Is like arbitrarily make resources less available for no reason. So I think they learned a valuable lesson that day, which they've applied ever since, which is let's not give a lot of anything, and then we can slowly give more and more. And then every time they give more, people are like, woohoo, yay, do that again. And you know what I mean? Like it keeps making people happy. So these new campaigns mainly serve, firstly, to give us new stuff to do, but more importantly, to slowly increase the amount of orange gear we get, which was obviously something they were already going to do. So that's, that ties back into the letter. Like I thought this was good news, but I was like, this is common sense. Like they've literally been doing this over and over and over.
Well, it makes sense for these freemium games, right? You make this content, you make it exclusive, people pay a lot of money, you make your money on that content, and then you make it available to people, and you release new content that you could make money off of, and it's just kind of an endless cycle with this freemium games. You're spending to get ahead before everybody gets it, and it's kind of. It's kind of how it goes with these games, but I'm excited about this because this means I don't have to be farming crap characters on heroes and villains every single day just to meet those achievements. So that from that perspective, I'm happy. But obviously about all these other things as well, orange gear and new campaigns, very, very good.
Dark Dimension missed opportunity, but a lot of people like, why don't they just make it replayable? There's so many things that they could do to make it replayable, and that is true, right? They could easily put rewards in there that we want to replay it, but
once a month, reset the rewards, and you get something. Some
that's
orange gear or something. Every time they reset the monthly calendar, that we just
that's
get
a great
Electron,
idea.
by the way, we make it so you could go into the Dark Dimensions again, give some minimal rewards, but once a month, people would have to pass it. That's how you make that thing playable and replayable. Is super easy.
That's a great idea.
Just
I would
reset it every
actually.
month.
Now, personally, that is a great idea. And I was actually going to say, if they just made it always replayable, that for any rewards, then it just becomes like something you're expected to do, and it adds a bunch of low quality time. But I like your thing of like once a month you do it again.
Once a
That's
month.
a great
Once
idea.
a month. I wouldn't mind doing it once a month.
Fantastic idea.
Yeah.
Now, what I think would make it fun is if every time you did it, you had a small chance to get a trophy character. Like literally like a character that's not very good, but just pick any half-decent popular character. Let's say Howard the Duck. And like Howard the Duck's just a trophy character.
You're pushing for that guy.
He's the best character.
April is coming soon. A couple more months
He's
away.
the ultimate Marvel character. But so anyway, so like he wouldn't even have to be good. It would just be like the only way to get Howard the Duck is he's a 1 in 100 drop from finishing Dark Dimension. Have fun. It would be so fun. Like, didn't get him this month.
If he's that bad of a character, then why even make it a character? Why not make it like a costume, an alternate uniform or something? If it's just to be a trophy.
Well, you can have trophy characters that you just give them cool animations and stuff.
But they suck. But if they suck, are you going to use them and see those animations?
Well, so when I say they suck, I mean like could be middling. So I think back to like Marvel Contest of Champions. They had a super rare trophy character that was literally Like they had Iron Fist, and then they had Immortal Iron Fist, and it was basically just Iron Fist like wearing a white jacket and white pants. That was it. And he was like 5% better than normal Iron Fist, and normal Iron Fist was bad. So you didn't need him, but he was just cool to have because almost no one had him. So, like, I would go after any character, good or bad, just to have them. You know, they Marvel Contest Champions did that really well. They did Kang from gifting crystals. They gave Thanos to the first people to clear some campaign, and none of these characters were like, oh, if you don't have them, like, you're gonna get wrecked. It wasn't like the Ultron that we have. It would be more comparable to, like, you know, if there's someone in the middle, like Mantis. Like, not unusable, but, you know, if you don't have them, you'll probably be okay.
Yeah, that'd be a cool addition for them.
Yeah. You could build teams around them.
But Red Stars, we kind of talked about that. The rewards, they could have gone a lot further. It is a replace. I mean, it is an improvement, but yeah, not what they're looking for, and kind of removing some of the RNG.
With the Red Star orbs, they said they're giving everyone an extra 2 Red Star orbs a week, and they're gonna change it so that you get a silver promotion credit every day from your daily objectives.
Yeah.
With the ISO 8, there was some good news in there that I found very surprising. Didn't expect this at all. Based on the feedback they got about ISO 8, they took all the RNG out of it. Now you literally craft the RNG that you, craft the ISO 8 that you want with no RNG.
Yeah. They said that a couple weeks ago in the video, though.
Oh, did they say that then?
Yeah,
too? Okay.
I think John Durr said that they took out the RNG. So, I think the big thing is the same thing from the video, though, for me, that they took the feedback and they revamped it. So, I like that they listened to the feedback because it was negative.
They did mention in the devlog, ISO 8 is coming with its own campaigns and its own energy and stuff.
Yes,
so,
and in this blog, they said more gold, more gear.
Right. So, yeah, it's just another, for all the people, like, they need to give us more gold, like, they're literally going to give you additional energy, additional stuff to do, and additional ways to bring in more gold. So in a roundabout way, they addressed the gold there, too. You're going to be able to bring in more gold.
Great difficulty selector. I think this is a good thing.
Yep. They had this in MCOC, where you basically... They had a couple ways to do it. So first they had a thing where, like, you decided which one you wanted to run, and then you chose how many groups. So you could have, like, more people pile into fewer groups, and then it scaled based on, like, your team's collection power. So this one is something similar. It's basically like you're gonna say we want to do this difficulty of it and get the according
X
rewards.
Amount of rewards. Yeah, this is cool. I know there's a lot of alliances that are in that bubble between Ultima 6 is way too easy for them, but is a little challenging getting to 30% of Ultima 7. So this is great for those kind of alliances. Any other thoughts on this difficulty selector?
Again, another fantastic inclusion. I think, you know, they should have done this from the get-go, but, you know, I don't have a time machine, so I'm glad they're doing it now.
We talked about the discrepancies with Ultima 7 that they can't find, and yeah, if you guys have some information on that, they're still looking for that. They're trying to find what is going on with that.
I have no tolerance for that. If you find proof of Ultima 7 changes, please send it to me. I will absolutely feature it in a video and be like, what's going on here?
Yeah, I think I don't think there's anything super conclusive with that. Contacts list. This kind of confused me. I'm like, why do we need to contact people that we know? We could contact them on Discord. We could text them, but this next section made it all clear. The new game mode that they've been talking about, real-time PvP. Oh my goodness, the possibilities with this game mode. There's so much, especially as content creators. I'm speaking a little selfishly right now, but so much that we can do. Oh my goodness. Just a game mode that we play just for fun, just, you know, screwing around, playing with your friend. I mean, this is fun. I like this. What are your thoughts on this real-time PvP?
I love it, but so to me, this is like two things in one that we've been asking for. Real-time PvP is going to be fun, and it's going to pave the way for more fun game modes when they actually put rewards on the line. But it's also going to perfectly serve as a duel or practice. Yes, it's also going to be a practice tool where we can test stuff. So that is a double whammy big victory. Yeah, I am super hyped for this.
I think we were talking last week about the war, 1v1 war, but this this is good. I'm liking this right now. So
I wasn't expecting this. I had been told like a while ago, like, oh, everyone thinks real-time PvP would be cool, but it would be a huge pain to actually build. That's what I'd heard way back when.
Yes.
So I just assumed, you know, I kept thinking like, yeah, it would be so cool, but we'll probably never get it. And I was not expecting like, oh, apparently we will be getting it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
And it's a completely 100% free to play, player friendly feature because there's no rewards. You don't have to spend anything. So
yeah, and no rewards. So it's just for fun. And so there's no consequences either, which is good.
Except me embarrassing you on my stream. Not you personally, just whoever thinks they got game.
Well, we got a lot of videos to make when this comes out. You and my.
Oh yes, we do.
So. Yeah, overall with this blog post, there's some mixed messages here, so there's some very vague messages, but overall, this is one of their best blog posts. This real-time PvP, I think, is super, super exciting for me. All the possibilities that could open up.
I agree. I think it's like unfortunate timing for their best blog post ever.
Yeah. Now, I think this was kind of a direct response to the initial boycott letter, though, because we are working a number of features. In light of recent community concerns, we'd like to share this with you today instead of waiting until next week. So this was pushed up.
They released it early.
It pushed up, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, good blog post. Any other thoughts on this whole situation before we move on to some other things that actually happen in-game instead of outside the game?
No, but I think we've talked enough about this, so right. I say we rapid
let's move
fire.
On. Let's move on. All right, Spiderverse Milestones. How did you do with these?
Didn't even pay attention to them.
All right, I know the first day my alliance went for Ultima 6, but after that it was kind of business as usual for us. So I didn't hit them. I didn't get all of them because I can't really use these characters in all game modes right now. So
yeah, I could have used them in a bunch, but I got whatever I got from doing my Blitz rotations with my Spider-Verse team. Yeah. I didn't even pay attention to how many of them I claimed because if I remember, what was in it was like just like the purple gear, orange gear.
Yeah, right? some things. Like, I mean, some like their normal milestone rewards for using certain characters, but
yeah, it wasn't like other milestone events where like if you got all the way to the end, there was big stuff in there.
No, it was kind of like the Marauders one that upset people. The Asgardians one, it's just good stuff that we need, so it was cool. It's kind of like a little bonus. Cyclops. I know we were talking about it. Some people bought the offer, some people didn't. I know you were one that did, and we were talking a little bit about how amazing he was. How amazing is he? Can you share more details? Can you get a little more details on Cyclops and his value as a character?
Absolutely. So he is amazing, but so on his own, he's just a blaster. Like, he's not bad. He doesn't do anything really incredible on his own. But on the X-Men, he does an insane amount of damage. So anytime anyone is hitting Phoenix, he's going to counter. And that's free damage. He might also send Wolverine to counter, and that's a bunch of damage. Nice. Anytime an X-Men ally takes a turn, if you put T-Force in his passive, he gets 2 charges, and he can hold up to 20. And each charge adds 25% damage to his ultimate. So he's usually last to act. Yeah, he's usually last to act, and he gets his ultimate on turn 2. On turn 2, he'll have...
It's an AoE.
He'll have... Yes, but he'll have between 16 and 20 charges when he goes to fire his ult. That alone makes it... I would have to look at the math, but it's something like 750% damage. Something insane.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Wait, it gets crazier though. Right. So usually you try to get Phoenix killed before his turn 2. You try to get her killed nice and early. If you successfully get her killed before his second turn, when she dies, he gets offense up and she defense downs everyone.
Oh my goodness.
So when he goes... When he goes, it's usually an offense up like 750% AoE to everyone with defense down. It is preposterous. He literally just erases the field.
So Phoenix doesn't even need to use her ult because Cyclops is going to use it and kill everybody before Phoenix even does or Dark Phoenix does her ult.
Yes. Her ult is like to kill like if there's like a single Colossus like still on his last limb. something like that. But it is insane.
All right, so X-Men without Cyclops, best team in the game, or arguably best team in the game, at least in the top three. At least in the top three.
Unquestionably number 1 or number 2.
Okay.
There's been a lot of debate. We did the tier list, and one of the things that we did was we did a synergized team tier list this time, as well as the solo character tier list.
Interesting.
And there was a lot of debate about how the Inhumans fight into X-Men with Cyclops, and how X-Men with Cyclops fight into the Inhumans. And still want a little bit more data on that. I want to know exactly how the Inhumans fight into the X-Men. The one thing that complicates it is a big part of what allows the Inhumans to get their Wombo combo off is that if they get dropped below 50%, they get Crystal heals them for 40% max health. They get defense up from dropping below from Yo-Yo, and then they get three of their debuffs get removed. So like if Dark Phoenix shows up and drops them when she spawns, they'll get giant heals. They'll have the defense down taken off, all that. However,
so Cyclops
makes it a little
gets the first 50%, gets them down. They get the heal from Crystal, and then Phoenix finishes them off.
Well, okay.
No?
So the thing is, they're doing stuff too. They have a nasty Wombo. And when Crystal ults, Dark Phoenix gets stunned because she's a summon. So their Wombo is very mean. It's Crystal AoE turn 1, Yo-Yo AoE, Crystal AoE, Black Bolt AoE, and and Quake AoE, all on turn 2. So in total, there's 5 AoEs from that team, and Yo-Yo keeps offense downing everyone before they even go. So, plus a lot of them keep gaining evade from Yo-Yo. So there's a lot going on. But anyway, here was the main point of contention why we're like, oh, we'd have to see how this goes. So Dark Phoenix has a health steal, and health steal effects, when they drop people below 50%, it doesn't trigger as though they were damaged below 50%. So if it works out perfectly that Dark Phoenix steals them below 50, they don't get any of the Crystal passive or the Yo-Yo defense up. So at full power, I'm not convinced that the X-Men will have dropped them low enough to even need it. Because again, they spawn with defense up. Yo-Yo keeps offense downing everyone. Quake is slowing people. Like, I'm not convinced that they will have been taken low enough for it to matter. But either way, it's I want to see him go toe to toe. But I'm still convinced the Inhumans are the number 1 team in the game right now.
All right, well,
even with Cyclops.
You have convinced me that this is a very intriguing matchup, and I would also like to see a lot more data on this, because it sounds like there's a lot of different interactions that you got to take into account.
But those are number 1 and number 2. There's no question. Those are number 1 and number 2 by a healthy margin. Like the Asgardians are kind of trailing in third, but X-Men with Cyclops and the Inhumans are on top right now, and both of them are absolutely nasty.
That is very, very good teams. Moving on from Cyclops, X-Men, and all of these meta teams, let's talk about this Blitz. Karnak. Were you surprised by the scores for this Karnak Blitz?
I mean, yes and no. So, like, I'm not that surprised. Like, our predictions were much higher, so we were assuming that people would do more, right?
Yeah.
Because that's literally what we put on the predictions. Side note, that was us, trying to raise the predictions, but foiled again. Darn community. No, I'm just kidding. But so here was the thing. A lot of times this happens, like the same thing happened with Heimdall. So new characters almost always fetch really high scores, but there's usually one character on the team who's just not as good as the others. And it was Heimdall on the Asgardians, it's Karnak on the Inhumans. He has a purpose, but he's not as good as the others. And so typically that character sees lower scores than like going all out for a brand new character. However, we never want to assume like, people know this one's not that good because it's a brand new character.
Yeah.
So we would always rather like, let's just assume everyone goes as hard as possible for a new character, because we don't want people to follow the predictions and not get the new character, Yeah. So I wasn't that surprised. Like, oh, okay, like it looks like the community is aware he's not as good as the rest of the Inhumans. But yeah, I would have thought it would have been a little higher, but It's not unprecedented. You know, if it was like 5 mil, I would have been like so confused. I know. So,
well, how much do you think Karnak not being the best member of the Humans affected it, and how much do you think this boycott talk has affected it?
I don't even think the boycott talk affected it that much. It might have a little bit, but like most people are still playing.
Yeah.
I think it was two things. I think it was him not being the strongest member of the Inhumans, and I also think that, and this was very obvious, like on the last day of his Blitz, they cranked the difficulty in Blitz. I started like every team I was getting matched with was like Dark Phoenix, Ultron, or normal Phoenix, Ultron, just like crazy.
Wait,
Captain Marvel.
You got that on the last day? I had that. It seemed like this whole Blitz. It used to be Defenders. It's now like Brotherhood, Guardians, Brotherhood. I mean, as Guardians are in there, I see a lot. Ultron teams, Phoenix teams, full X-Men teams. Not just the last day for me. It was the whole Blitz for me.
So I've always seen those teams in there. Like, I used to see good variety. I would come across X-Men, I'd come across Brotherhood, I'd come across As-Guardians, but it would be rare that all three of my choices would be terrible. On the last day, I was just shuffling and shopping around, and I was like, what is going on today? Like, I literally would have to like go to like an 8th team to find a winnable match in 8-3. They just made it like ridiculous how much shopping around you had to do to find a good match. And that was very noticeable on the last day, and I had several people on that day be like, did they do something to Blitz? I'm like, I'm pretty sure they did.
I think they did as well. It's
Now, I have a theory.
Okay.
My theory is, people complain Blitz is boring, it's redundant, Blitz is low quality time. My theory, no idea if this is true, but they experimented with what if we made the cooldowns 4 hours? Let's see what people think. I think with this one, they're like, well, what if we made it super challenging? Do people like it better if it's more challenging?
No.
Well,
no.
Well, but so that's the thing. If it's too easy, it's boring and it's the same thing over and over and over. But then if it's too hard, it's not fun. So it has to be the absolute perfect, exactly tough enough for you. But what's tough enough for you is too tough for someone else who doesn't know the game that well, or is too easy for someone who knows the game super duper well, whatever it is. So I do think they're messing with the difficulty of Blitz to see if people are like, well, you said it was boring. What if you really have to pay a lot of attention to what you're doing? Is it more fun now if any match you could lose if you're not on your game? So
no, we already have that in Arena. We already have that in War. We don't need that in Blitz also.
So you want Blitz to go back to just being like Auto Fight Snooze Fest?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know, it's weird. It doesn't make sense, but I kind of like Blitz doing it like that.
Asking.
I like that. I know I'm in a minority, but that's what it is.
I think you're in the majority. Just most people are like, no, just change it all together. It should be different. I don't know. It should be different.
I liked how it was when they rebalanced it, and I found all these crappy teams to go against instead of meta. I'm like, I can't win these fights.
That's not, see, for me, it wasn't just the synergized teams though. Like some teams, you know what I mean? Like Guardians aren't like, oh, none of my teams beat Guardians. Like these days, there are like Inhumans don't care about Guardians.
No, I was talking about As-Guardians. I said Guardians by mistake. So yeah, I was thinking about As-Guardians.
But they've been thrown at just like my options would be like X-Men, As-Guardians, and Humans.
Yeah.
Like the fuck.
Thank you. This is
and I'm
fun.
like trying to use my Sinister Six. I'm like, what is going on?
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. When you put in these challenging teams, you actually have to pick the teams. When these non-challenging teams, you're like, I could pick any of these 3 matchups. I like all of them. Which is the most fun? Whereas one of these, I'm like, I can't win any of these, and now I gotta shuffle through my roster and spend extra time just finding a matchup. That's why if this is a proposed change, do not do this, Fox Snakes. This is not fun. This is not.
He's speaking for himself. I
found
found
it's not fun.
The shopping around for matches, it made me waste a lot more time in Blitz, but
low quality time finding matchups. That is low quality time at its worst.
It is, but for me, and I'm probably in the minority, and I'm fine. Like, this is not one of those causes where I'm like, no, this is what I want, and I'm gonna try to be the loudest voice on this. Like, it's fine. If Blitz should be whatever the most people are having fun with, because Blitz is, at the end of the day, it's a mode you have to like play a lot. So I want Blitz to be whatever most people agree is fun. For me, I do enjoy the challenge. I hate the shopping around, but when I finally find one where I'm like, this one looks like one I can probably win, but let's see what happens. Like, for me, it's Blitz is the most thrilling. Like, I win so many of these like 180k punch-ups in A3 of Blitz just barely with things where I'm like, I estimated how this would go.
You're
just
talking
perfectly.
about matchups that are questionable. If it's X-Men, Asgardians, Inhumans, they're not even questionable.
Well,
they're not even questionable.
Yeah. No, you're right.
That's not fun.
No. Yeah, if it's literally pick a different team or lose, that's not.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about the Legendary Shuri. She had her event come back, and people are unlocking her for the first time. What should they do with her? Just build her up to use an Ultimate 7, or build this Wakanda's team around her? Realizing that they're not the premier raid team. What should people be doing with Shuri at this point? That just unlocked her.
She is way worth powering up. She's an incredibly powerful solo character. I have one interesting thought on Shuri, which is if you already have Invisible Woman, then you don't need to be in a huge rush to power up Shuri. Not because Invisible Woman is just better than Shuri. Like, they're about as good as one another. Invisible Woman might be like 5-10% better, maybe. But they kind of do the same thing. They're both incredible powerhouse team protectors alone.
I use both of them. I use both of them on Ultimate 7.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
The barrier from Invisible Woman, the healing from Shuri, the defense up from Shuri. I mean, I like both of them on the same team. They work well together.
Yep, they absolutely do. So for me right now in Ultimate 7, the powerhouse combo is Minerva, Scientist Supreme, and Yo-Yo. With those three, you're just not taking a lot of damage. You've got multiple people who can revive. You've got health steal. You've got, for the most part, debuff immunity, and Yo-Yo's just offense downing everyone before they can even do anything. So between those three, you're pretty good in terms of damage reduction. So I unfortunately don't use Shuri or Sue much, but I used to prior to having this power trio set up. And yeah, they're both Shuri and Sue are excellent for Ultimate 7. So yeah, if I unlock Shuri, you can build the Wakandans the Wakandans require a bunch of T4s. They don't actually require crazy like power in terms of gear and red stars, but if you are willing to put a bunch of T4s in them, they become a pretty good team. I would say they are a solid top 15 team. So you can invest in them and get some value out of them, right? Like, they have a purpose in war. Like, there are war matchups where I'm like, I don't want to use any vital team, but I have to take this enemy team seriously, whether it's like the Kree or Sinister Six or whatever. Like, I can't throw a scrap team. Like, I need a team. I just don't want to use any of my super good teams. So they're pretty reliable. So you can build them up. But what I would advise, power up Shuri. She's a super strong solo character. Use her in Ultimate 7. Don't really worry about the rest of them.
Yeah, the only one I did other than Shuri was Black Panther's passive, and they're a fun team. They're not like the premier raid team without their all their T4s, but they're fun. I have fun with them in Blitz. Not legendary. Symbiote Spider-Man. We got an in-game mail. We usually get these right before we get an offer. In light of the current environment in the game, do you think they're going to release the Symbiote Spider-Man offer this week?
I'm not sure. So I don't remember, like, when Coulson first came out, they had offers for him. I don't remember. Did Captain Marvel have offers? So the going theory is that Symbiote Spider-Man is like the next milestone character. So I don't remember.
Just based on his star unlock, right?
Right. So yeah. Well, that, and I mean, they said a new character is coming to Milestones, and then the only other thing they've said is like look out for Cyclops coming to Milestones, but Cyclops they already had offers for. Like, I already have a 5-star Cyclops, so he's probably going to be like a Ghost Rider Namor type milestone, like the running alongside Blitz milestone, as opposed to the standard 3 overall. So those are the going theories on how these characters will be released.
Do you think that he transforms the Spider-Verse team into a usable raid team? Or even a team that you might want to consider taking to Dark Dimension, even though they're very superior, unique, intensive?
Well, so here's the thing. They are, in my opinion, not like one of the craziest raid teams. They'll be up there. Again, I did a ranking, so actually I'll tell you. we came to the conclusion that they were the 11th best raid team, excluding hybrids, just based on synergy team.
Okay.
However, I think their niche, firstly, I mean, they're just going to be like an all right team. Like, they're going to be they're going to be slightly better than Brotherhood as an attacking team. Like, as a war team, as a blitz team, they're basically going to be just a slightly better Brotherhood from what we can tell.
Okay.
But I think their golden zone is in Dark Dimension 3, you're going to have to use characters with the city tag. And I think that whole team has city tag. So while they might not be the best raid team.
Well, here's the argument against. I think they all take the same superior uniques.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, so I don't
Sounds Fox
know
next to
if
me.
they're going to be the best city team for Dark Dimension 3, considering that.
I mean, they might be the only ones that can do it. So
Maybe. Start collecting those superior uniques now, guys, for Spider-Verse.
Doesn't that sound like the Fox next thing to do?
Yeah.
Like, oh, you can struggle with this for a while with your defenders, or you can walk through it with the Spider-Man team.
Oh, you want to build your Wakandans? All of them take the same superior unique.
Right.
Same thing with Spider-Verse.
Probably so.
All right, and I think this is the most fun time for me, guys. The time for some rumors of some new characters. I am always in favor of new characters, and there have been some rumors. There have been some hints over the past few weeks. Villains that they're gonna support an existing team. Is there anything new that you can tell us this week? Any clues that you want to reveal to us?
So I've been trying to watch my tongue because people have been jumping to conclusions, but I will say this. Okay. So with the inclusion of characters to like Cyclops to the X-Men, Symbiote Spidey coming to Spider-Verse, it's not a big leap to assume Fox are trying to plug any holes in existing team comps.
Yeah.
So I feel comfortable sharing that 2 of the rumored upcoming villains will fit on an existing team, and they are both male characters.
Man, you have narrowed it down so much. There's so many teams that they could fit onto. Leave your guesses in the comments, guys. Who do you think that could be? This super specific hints. Who do you think the team is, and who do you think the characters are, guys? Let me know in the comments. Khasino, it has been fun as usual. I look forward to this every week. I hope you guys do as well. Tell everybody where they could find you, my brother.
So you can find me twitch.tv/Khasino, which is Khasino, youtube.com/Khasino. I'm gonna have a bunch of infographics coming out. One last thing I did want to throw in, my views are my own. If you find a lot of what I'm saying to be things you don't agree with, don't downvote ValleyFlyin for that. Guys. Just tell me I'm a jerk in the comments, but remember, this is his channel. And he just has me on here.
Leave
saying,
a nasty message in the comments.
Yeah, go.
But leave it a
go.
Upvote.
Put a thumbs down on my channel.
Give a thumbs up. No, don't do that here. Just
go
leave a nasty
downvote
comment.
my channel.
Just leave a nasty comment. Don't leave a thumbs up. Only thumbs up, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Whether you agreed with the opinions of either of us or not, I hope it was still entertaining to you. And if you did like it, make sure you leave that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Share this with your friends. Smash on that bell, guys. Notification squad. It is a cool thing to do in 2020, guys. So thank you guys again for watching. Thank you again, Khasino. We are almost at a year doing this. We're very close.
What are we gonna do for the 1 year?
I don't know, guys. Let us know in the comments, guys. What should we do? We're coming up on it in about 10 weeks or so. So we got to figure this out. That's actually
Valley. Don't give them any freaking ideas with any hot food.
That would be my choice.
Anything else would be my choice.
All right. Well, we'll figure something out, guys. Let us know some suggestions in the comments. Thank you guys once again. Thank you guys that are listening on the podcast version of this for joining us. And if you want to support the channel, there are some links down below on the YouTube video. Valley merch, BlueStacks, it is my emulator of choice. And I will see you guys next time. Make sure you guys check me out on social media, and Khasino's links, they are down below. Hulk fist bump. ValleyFlyin out.